Everyone thinks that teens in our world today use alcohol, tobacco, or drugs to cope with everyday struggles. You may think they do.
But they don't. Welcome to the But They Don't podcast, a podcast for teens by teens. Join us as we cover substance use prevention, mental health, community conversations, and more.
Welcome back to another episode of But They Don't. I'm Amerie.
I'm Ivey.
I'm Abby.
Today's topic is on youth vaping, and all of our information came straight from the Surgeon General's website on e-cigarettes and young people, which we'll link in the description of this week's episode.
E-cigarettes are devices that are a heat liquid into an aerosol that the user inhales. The liquid usually has nicotine and flavoring in it, and other additives. The nicotine in e-cigarettes and regular cigarettes is addictive. E-cigarettes are considered tobacco products because most of them contain nicotine, which comes from tobacco.
Besides nicotine, e-cigarettes can contain harmful and potentially harmful ingredients, including ultrafine particles that can be inhaled deep into the lungs, flavorants such as diacetyl, a chemical linked to serious lung disease, volatile organic compounds, heavy metals such as nickel, tin, and lead. Adolescent years are times of important brain development. Brain development begins during the growth of the fetus in the womb and continues throughout childhood to about the age 25. Nicotine exposure during adolescence and young childhood can cause addiction and harm to the developing brain.
I'm going to stop you right there. I'm going to say that most people think their brain stopped developing at like 20, and that's really not right. And then they do all this stuff, and then
they're ruining their brain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it makes no sense how the legal age is like 21 or like 18 or whatever, whenever it should be based off of our
development.
Yes. Exactly. Anyways, no matter how it's delivered, nicotine is harmful for youth and young adults. E-cigarettes typically contain nicotine as well as other chemicals that are known to damage health. For example, users risk exposing their respiratory systems to two potentially harmful chemicals in e-cigarettes.
I know, not particularly like anybody, but I've just known people who have tried to do sports and they just genuinely can't because they have done things that they shouldn't be doing, and it's just genuinely harmed them to the point where they can't breathe to be able to do what they want to do.
And that's so sad because
why would you want to
no one wants to ruin their self like that, but because all these people are doing it and everyone feels like they have to do it, they do it, and then they ruin their lives, and then they regret that decision. So I feel like we should start stepping towards making it cooler to not do it instead of making it cooler to do it.
And the e-cigarettes are just ruining their lung capacity.
Exactly.
Just ruin it for
It's scary. It's scary,
especially
if
during
anything.
these times, the high school years. You want to be able to go out and have fun, and if you're so out of breath and you're not able to, that's just kind of sad.
Exactly.
Exactly. I mean, there's times where it's not really sad when it's health related, not to smoking and stuff. Mm-hmm. But if you're choosing to do that to yourself, that's why would you want to do that? You're ruining your adolescent years.
Which is why we have to help them and give resources.
I'd love to
show them different things and have to help them find other outlets for things like that.
And it also affects the brain. The part of the brain that's responsible for decision making and impulse control is not yet fully developed during adolescence. Young people are more likely to take risks when their health and safety, including use of nicotine and other drugs. Youth and young adults are also unlikely at risk for long-lasting effects of exposing their developing brains to nicotine. These risks include nicotine addiction, mood disorders, and permanent lowering of an impulse control. Nicotine also changes the way synapses are formed, which can harm the parts of the brain that control attention and learning.
Oh, and especially because the younger kids are starting to get into it now, and they need to focus on their schoolwork or they're not gonna.
Yeah, I've seen people as little as elementary school, which is crazy.
That is crazy. Mm-hmm. Makes me so sad. That's why I'm so glad we're out here doing this, so they can have somewhere to talk about this.
Yeah. Somewhere to go.
Yes.
So, how does nicotine in e-cigarettes specifically affect the brain? Until about the age of 25, the brain is still growing. Each time a new memory is created or a new skill is learned, stronger connections or synapses are built between brain cells. Young people's brains build synapses faster than adult brains. Because addiction is a form of learning, adolescents can get addicted more easily than adults. The nicotine in e-cigarettes and other tobacco products can also prime the adolescent brain for addiction to other drugs such as cocaine. Dang.
It's
crazy.
Yeah, especially just because you don't really realize that until you've done it once, and then now you're addicted. And
it's
now,
very baffling.
Yeah.
Like peer pressure, especially like, oh well, I'm just gonna do it once while I'm in front of people, and
there is no one time only use.
Exactly.
Addiction is so strong, and one use can ruin it for everybody.
Exactly.
Oh, it just
Another
hurts
thing
my
that's
heart.
crazy is just like how it does, like it was talking about, affect people's brain, like how much mood changes and attitude and all of that's affected by using nicotine and other products like that. It's just crazy to me.
I know at my school I can visibly notice everything that's going on and how it's affecting people, because some of my friends that I used to know have started using like e-cigarettes, and it's really getting to them, and you have like a normal conversation with them and their mood is just completely out of whack. And
yes, like they're always so irritable, and I'm like, what happened? What happened?
Yeah.
It's like their brain function is slowly slowing down.
It's slowly becoming a new
And
person.
it's really sad because like that one person that you've like really known and loved, it's gonna like completely change them. So that's why you really, like I've mentioned before, you really want to try to help stop that. Like it's gonna be hard because they're gonna like want to keep doing these things, but you really have to show them like, hey, there's a life outside of all of this. You don't need to use this as your hook off or your getaway for these different things like stress, and which is what a lot of people, or peer pressure, try to get them into.
It's hard to see someone go through these hard times, but you need to make sure that you're always there for them, but not get caught up in it too.
Yes.
So then you eventually start doing new things.
Exactly.
So while we're talking about the youth, but like how the Easter eggs that they're using, it's strongly like linked to other tobacco products, like regular cigarettes or cigars or like hookah and smokeless tobacco. Some of the evidence that e-cigarettes is linked to alcohol use and other substance use, such as marijuana, and certain e-cigarette products can be used to deliver other drugs, like marijuana. And that is crazy to me, because that's such harsh stuff. And just one little hit off of anything will
be like, oh, well, I tried this, and it didn't really do that much. So let me try this, or let me try this, and
just a simple like
spiral.
2 or more uses of these tobacco products. Some people say that the use of e-cigarettes by young people might protect them from using cigarettes. There is no evidence to support this claim. Some studies show that non-smoking youth who use e-cigarettes are most likely to try conventional cigarettes in the future than non-smoking youth who does not use e-cigarettes. And among high school students and young adults who use 2 or more tobacco products, 7 out of 10 use both e-cigarettes and burned tobacco products. Burned tobacco products like cigarettes are responsible for the overwhelming majority of tobacco-related deaths and disease in the United States.
Which with teens, which it kind of said like they're more likely to try like other things, so like cigarettes being that one thing. But like even if they're not really smoking cigarettes, the vapes or e-cigarettes are still such of a problem that it's crazy.
Mm-hmm. It's causing a lot of deaths too. That is
that's so heavy. Like just thinking about that.
Most kids now, they don't understand the large impact that these products have on their life. And it's just so crazy about how all of this is happening right here near us.
Like it's all happening like not publicly. It's all behind the scenes. It's things that you can,
but it's there.
Exactly. Like it's definitely there, but people don't talk about it enough. So it's happening a lot.
Yeah. Another thing that's kind of sad is I've literally watched teachers just like stop caring.
Exactly.
Like I've had like our assistant principal, she'll like, they know to like check bathrooms and stuff, but they've gotten to the point where they'll just be like, girls come out, come to class and stuff, but like they don't stop it. Like they're just sitting there letting them do it. Like they know what they're doing and they're not trying to do anything to stop it.
That's kind of like the whole point of checking the bathrooms, because to stop this, so
the attitude, yeah,
so people don't continue this, and so more people don't get hurt.
Hey, Jessica's in the room. I just wanted to hop in and let you all know that the law in South Carolina has actually changed, so that there's not a whole lot that your teachers or school resource officers can do about possession anymore, which is really really crazy. So that's something that we can actually advocate for the law to get changed back, because they changed it in 2023, actually, 2022, and it's just now coming into effect to where the police officers that are at your schools can't even do anything about it if they get caught with a tobacco product.
Dang.
That's crazy.
That's sad.
There's my adult 2 cents. I'm going back on mute now.
The aerosol from e-cigarettes is not harmless. It can contain harmful and potentially harmful chemicals, including nicotine, ultrafine particles that can be inhaled deep into the lungs, flavoring, such as diacetyl, a chemical linked to serious lung disease, volatile organic compounds such as benzene, which is found in car exhaust, and heavy metals such as nickel, tin, and lead. Scientists are working to understand more fully the health effects and harmful doses of e-cigarette contents when they are heated and turned into aerosol, both for active users who inhale from a device and from those who are exposed to aerosol secondhand.
That's what makes me mad, is how people don't even care about the other people that do not want anything to do with this. How they get that secondhand smoke.
Yeah,
because they're just around.
Is such a big thing. Like, people will just like do it and not care and not think anything about it.
Like,
it's not only affecting you, but it's affecting everybody around you, your loved ones.
Exactly.
Like, think of someone who's like, you couldn't imagine something bad happening to them. You're hurting them.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about it. If you're doing whatever that is you're doing, and then someone walks by with a brand new baby, that baby just inhaled that smoke.
Yeah.
And then you just harmed someone else. You don't even know, not even meaning to, because that's a newborn baby. Like,
little kids getting exposed to this is hurting them, and they have to grow up with that.
Especially since, like, well, I don't know from experience, thankfully, but like I've known like other people that have like had kids, but it's less of like with adults, it's less of the vapes and stuff and the e-cigarettes, that it's more of the actual cigarettes. And not that it's more dangerous, but like it's just like the smell, like even if it's not the chemicals, like the smell and all these other things that it's still affecting.
yeah, it's like, okay. From growing up in a cigarette smelling home, being bullied for smelling like cigarettes is not something you want to go through your childhood with. Like, those kids are relentless, and it's not even your choice to smell like it. It's because of them. And that's why I work so hard to work against people smoking, because I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to inhale all that. I didn't want to smell like that, but I had no choice.
Yeah.
Hey, Jessica again.
Decisions.
So you guys all mentioned secondhand smoke, but with e-cigarettes, there's actually something called third-hand smoke as well. So because e-cigarettes are an aerosol, think about when you spray a can of hairspray. Have you ever felt what's left behind, like on the counter after hairspray?
Yeah.
Hairspray is an aerosol too. So just like the hairspray leaves that behind, e-cigarettes are leaving behind that kind of residue stuff on furniture, on countertops, on school desks, anything like that. And so you go and touch that, you're exposed to third-hand smoke at that point. So it's even more dangerous because it sticks around and stays on those surfaces for a good long while. So you've got the second-hand smoke exposure, but then you've also got that third-hand smoke exposure that you have to consider as well. Okay, back on mute again.
That's crazy.
Speaking of which, the being stuck on the desk thing, it's crazy how those students just do it in the middle of class, and teachers just look at them, go back to doing what they're doing. Like
you
just
Jessica
saw that happen,
had to
right?
mention, like, where they
Yeah.
can't say much about it
They can't, and that's
anymore.
just crazy.
And
Like,
that's where we have to come into play to, like, even though it feels awkward, we have to, like, face that awkwardness and be, like, not like a teacher's pet, because that's what a lot of people would think, like, oh, why are you telling me what to do, or why are you telling me this? It's genuinely just because we care about these people and we don't want them to do things that are going to harm them.
Not only caring about them themselves, but also us, for like contact and exposure to this stuff. It's hurting us too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Speaking of which, did you know that e-cigarettes are like a $2.5 billion business in the United States? Like, that's an insane number. Like, that's huge. And as of 2014, the e-cigarette industry spent $125 million a year to advertise their products and use as many of the techniques that made traditional cigarettes such a popular consumer project. So that means like they're doing like everything they can to get everyone to do it. Like not even thinking about the health risk, just because.
Yeah, and marketing and advertising of conventional tobacco products like cigarettes are proven to cause youth to use tobacco products. Scientists are also finding that youth who are exposed to e-cigarettes advertisements are more likely to use the product than youth who are not exposed.
Have you been hearing about how they've been starting to like use like cute packaging and stuff to go towards little kids?
Pausing from that, not even packaging, me and my friends were talking about this the other day. They literally made a vape that you can like play games on. Like small screen that you can literally like do like Pac-Man or like other arcade games and like games like that.
They made one that's like the shape of like a little toy like milk carton. It are marketed towards like, little kids.
And like even just like with the flavors, like even if something was plain and somebody's like, oh, strawberry, like the smell. Yeah,
and like gummy bears.
There have been times where like I'd be walking past people doing things like that and I'd just be like, oh, that smells good. And I'm like, wait, that's not I don't need to, that's not good. Just because the different things that it does. And it's like crazy that advertising, just like the ads like going to gas stations, how like it'd be like, oh, these colorful neon pinks, blues, people's favorite colors. Just the craziness of it is
it's just sad how they create that bright color like packaging and like design that appeals to the young, because that's not what we should be wanting. We shouldn't be wanting those little kids to want these things.
Yeah.
Many themes in e-cigarette marketing, including sexual content and customer satisfaction, are parallel to themes and techniques that the tobacco industry aimed at youth and young adults in their advertising and promotion of conventional cigarettes.
To add to that, in 2018, more than 5 in 10 middle school and high school students, more than 14 million youth, said they had seen e-cigarette advertising. Retail stores were the most frequent source of this advertising, following by the internet, TV, and movies, and magazines and newspapers. One of the things that, like me personally, I've seen, I went to just a racetrack the other day, and they had just like a whole truck for like the Zen pouches, and it was like pay $1 to try Zen, and it was obviously meant for adults, but it was an educational event. Like there were tons of schools there. Like not that they wouldn't let the kids in, but they still get that idea in their head of like, oh, what was that? Let me look it up.
That's okay.
Like, oh, well, all these other people are going to it. What's this? Let me be more interested in it. And then that could lead to them trying it and then getting addicted to it.
I know, like, Zen has become very, like, conventional to other people today. Like, today I was at a car dealership, and the salesman, he was just sitting there just, like, twirling around the Zen packaging like it was nothing. Like, it was just normal part of the day when that's not okay.
Yeah.
Like, you have, like, people's lives in your hand, basically. Yeah. And, like, the main reason that young people, like, start it is because, like, they see, like, their family member or a friend using it. And who knows where they got that from. Or, like the tastes of it, like, the scents and stuff like that, and how they make it taste good so you want more of it. Yeah. And it's just...
And just, like, being curious. Just wanting to know what it is and why so many people are using it nowadays.
Yeah. And, like well, the entirety of my friend group plus more are doing this. Like, why can't I do it? But that's definitely not a mindset that you should have, because, like we have mentioned before, it's horrible for you. And, like, I feel like people know that. Like, they know it's not good. They know that they shouldn't be doing it. But just, like, still seeing the other people doing it, it's going to want to, like, try to switch their mindset. Like, oh, well, one time won't hurt. Even though it literally will hurt.
It really will.
Oh, have you been, like, seeing those, like, those ads where it's like, this isn't as bad as you, or bad for you as, like, cigarettes are, but they don't even know what's all in those things. Like, there's a bunch of chemicals that you can't even pronounce or know what it is, and it's so much worse.
Yeah.
Most people don't actually know what they're intaking in their body on a daily basis. that includes all the drugs and like the exposure from other people doing these substances.
Yeah, like Jessica had mentioned what was the word? The
Third hand
smoking. Like, a lot of people don't know that. Like, I was surprised to hear that today.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how it, like, leaves stuff, like, actually behind. Like, I did not know that. How that, like, not doubles the effect, but, like, triples literally how it's affecting other people, not just yourself. Youth and young adults cite a variety of reasons for using e-cigarettes. These include use by a friend or family member, taste, including the flavors in e-cigarettes, the belief that e-cigarettes are less harmful than other tobacco products, curiosity. Flavored e-cigarettes are popular among youth and young adults. In 2014, more than 9 of 10 young adult e-cigarette users said they use e-cigarettes flavored to taste like menthol, alcohol, candy, fruit, chocolate, or other sweets. In 2018, more than 6 of 10 high school students who use e-cigarettes said they use flavored e-cigarettes.
The bottom line is this. Scientists are still learning more about how e-cigarettes affect health. However, there is already enough evidence to justify efforts to prevent e-cigarettes use by young people. Because most tobacco use starts during adolescence, actions to protect our nation's young people from a lifetime of nicotine addiction are crucial.
So like things like us, like PCYB, we like working together, we can keep America's youth and young adults safe from the dangers that is associated with like tobacco and nicotine, like the addiction of it. We encourage you to ask the teens in your life how they think we can work together to prevent youth vaping use. We believe in nothing about us without us. Invite us to the table. Young people are the best informed on what is needed and what is effective, and therefore our voices should be heard when it comes to things that affect our lives.
That's all for this episode of But They Don't. Remember to follow us on social media to stay up to date on all things substance use prevention and mental health promotion. You can find us on Facebook at Pickens County Youth Board, Instagram and TikTok at We Are PCYB.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.